After the Philadelphia 76ers got eliminated by the Atlanta Hawks in the second round of this year's playoffs, and how poorly Ben Simmons played, averaging 10 points per game, 8.6 assists per game, on 33% shooting from the free throw line in that Hawks series, including passing up a wide open dunk in the crucial Game 7, everyone knew that Ben Simmons had to go and had to get out of Philly. Both Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid both showed how unhappy they were at Simmons in their exit interviews, and the 76ers have made Ben Simmons available for a trade. But they do want an all-star level / all-star caliber player in return for him. And at 24 years old, there will still be plenty of teams out there willing to take a chance on Ben Simmons. He's not old, he's not even in his prime yet, and he's got so many tools to be a good player in the NBA. He's a great passer, great playmaker, great rebounder, great defender, DPOY candidate. The only thing that holds him back is his shooting. He won't take. His problem is he's unwilling to shoot the three or even attempt a mid-range shot. And in the NBA, I've seen in the NBA you need to be able to shoot in the modern NBA. But I've seen workout videos of Ben Simmons, and he's capable of hitting the three or hit even the odd three or hitting the mid-range. Look at Giannis. I believe that Giannis is no better three-point shooter than Ben Simmons. Just Ben Simmons isn't willing to take on the three. I don't even think that he shoots his wrong hand makes a difference. I think he just is unwilling. He doesn't have the confidence to take the shot on, and I think that's a shame because Ben Simmons could be one of the very best players in this league. I don't think unless he can fix this shot, not even fix the shot, take some shots. I don't think he can be one of the best players in the league. I think he'll be more of a Draymond Green, and Draymond Green there's no shame being the next Draymond Green because Draymond Green is a 3-time champion, former All-Star, multiple-time All-Star. He's a great player, Draymond Green. He plays great defense, great playmaker, leader, but just can't stretch the floor of the Warriors. He did in his past days, but not much anymore. And Ben Simmons, I think his prime would probably be the same. If he can't shoot, he'd be a power forward who can do some great playmaking, earn the point forward almost, great defensive, won't be a defensive liability, one of the best defenders in the league, can guard 1 to 5, great passer, playmaker, rebounder. He's got all the attributes. It's just he won't shoot the three. So next year Ben Simmons will be making $33 million, which is a lot of money for a guy who cannot shoot the three and whose career has kind of stagnated in recent years, with his scoring, steals, assists and rebounding down from last year. He's taken a step back I think this year, and he's stood still these last few years. He hasn't taken much leaps at all, and that's why stagnate is the best word. He hasn't gone forward or back. But at 24, he still has plenty of potential to be a great player in this league. So in this video, we look at 7 teams who have been rumored and could be good fits for Ben Simmons, or who might want to trade for Ben Simmons this offseason. So let's look at number 7, and I've got from likely to least, most likely to least likely, all the way around, from least likely to most likely. I got the Golden State Warriors. Now, the base of any trade the Warriors will have to offer Philly, Andrew Wiggins. He's making some big money himself, around 26 million, I think. Plus some picks. The Warriors have some good picks to offer up if Philly want them. Philly are kind of in win now mode though, so maybe they might want picks. But Andrew Wiggins will have to be the base of any trade. Wiggins had a great year, a good year with the Warriors. He did have some bad moments, but all in all, a good year for Wiggins. So Philly should be willing to take on Andrew Wiggins as a third option behind Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris. And then the Warriors, they could have Ben Simmons in their front court as their starting power forward, alongside Draymond Green as probably a small ball center. Now, there's some pros and cons of having a front court of Ben Simmons and Draymond Green. Both great playmakers, both great defenders. As I said at the start of the video, Ben Simmons could be like the next Draymond Green. If they played together, they got the same attributes, which is not a great thing, because the downside is neither can stretch the floor. Draymond might be able to do it, and Ben Simmons won't be willing to take on any threes. But if there's one team you can get away with having 2 non-3-point shooters who won't stretch the floor, it's the Golden State Warriors, because they have the best shooting backcourt in NBA history with Steph and Clay, the Splash Brothers, all that jazz. I think they could get away with it. They could make this work. You have probably the worst 3-point shooter of all time, you could say, who won't take any on, and Draymond, but then you got Steph and Clay. So maybe I get away with that. And the Warriors, it'd be an interesting team to look at, and a great defensive team. You got Ben Simmons, you got Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. And the only question is there enough floor space? And as I said, Draymond and Ben can't do that. Steph and Clay can do that at an obscene level. They'll need a small forward or whatever. that fifth guy to be able to shoot the three as well. I think they could get away with it. Draymond hopefully will work on his threes as well. He said this offseason he's going to work on his offense, so maybe he might work on his threes. I think they can make this work, But would the Warriors be willing to trade for Ben Simmons? They got great assets. Could he go for a player above Ben Simmons? Maybe if Bradley Beal wants to go. They got the trade asset. As I said in past videos, the Warriors have the best trade package to offer any team for a star. So is Ben Simmons the star they want to trade for? I don't know. At number 6, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who at the base of any trade will be Colin Sexton and Kevin Love. Kevin Love is there to make the salaries work, but Sexton is the real talent here in this trade. Sexton is a great young guard who I think is ready for the step up and playing for a contending team. He does probably be the third guy behind Tobias Harris and Joel Embiid. I think he's ready for that. Love's on here to fill in salaries. As I said in previous videos about Kevin Love, I think if he can just play a really, just a role of a 3-point stretch 4 and play some defense. He's got the championship experience. I think you can put him alongside Joel Embiid and it could work if he can just stay healthy, of course. Kevin Love's injuries record isn't great. Philly, I don't know what they take this though, because Colin Sexton, as much potential as he has, he's not an all-star player. Is he all-star level at the moment? I don't think so. I think he's got a way to go. Also, Philly's backcourt could be Colin Sexton and Steph Curry next year, which would be very poor defensively. As for Ben Simmons in Cleveland, I think this be good for Ben Simmons. A lot of pressure will be taken off him. Not many people watch Cleveland games. Ever since LeBron left, they've been pretty irrelevant. So, the spotlight will be taken off him. Also, he'll be by far the best player on this Cleveland team. Rebuilding Cleveland team. They'll build around Ben Simmons, surrounding with shooters. He'll be the focal point of this rebuilding Cavs team with the limelight taken off him. I think that could work. I think that'd be a good fit for Simmons, But is this the best move for Ben Simmons' career? If he's going to go to Cleveland, he's going to a non-contending team, and they're a good bit off contention as well. They got no real good players. If Sexton's going, they don't have much good players. So does Ben Simmons want to go from one of the better teams in the NBA with the 76ers to the Cavaliers? I don't know. At number 5, we got the Indiana Pacers. Now they actually offered, they were the first team to offer a trade package to Philly, which was based around Malcolm Brogdon. Maybe, and they turned it down. So maybe they might add in TJ Warren and maybe some future picks. Now the Pacers have already offered Brogdon, as I said, to Philly for Simmons, and Philly turned it down. But I think Malcolm Brogdon is a great player, and I think he could be what Philly would be happy to take Malcolm Brogdon if they can just get a bit more in return. I think Brogdon had a great year for Indiana last year. Averaged 21 points per game, 6 assists per game, on 38% shooting from 3. And being in Indiana, and then as for being in Indiana, wouldn't be bad for Ben Simmons either, I don't think, because once again it's another small market team with not a lot of pressure, another rebuilding team. But why I put Indiana ahead of Cleveland is they've got a great coach in Rick Carlisle, and they might keep hold of Caris LeVert in this trade if they can get, maybe offer Malcolm Brogdon, TJ Warren some picks. They might keep Caris LeVert, so they got some good building blocks to be a good team. And I think Ben Simmons will be better fit in Indiana with a good coach, with Rick Carlisle, as I said. Maybe he might want to go to Indiana. Still another small market team. He'll still be the best player by far, and they build around him. So maybe Indiana wouldn't be a bad fit for Ben Simmons after all. The only question is, would Philly be willing to take on what Indiana have to offer? Malcolm Brogdon, as good as he is, he's not an all-star. Maybe he's a borderline all-star. TJ Warren has had his injury problems over the years, and as I said, do Philly really need picks? Because they're kind of in win now mode, you could say. So I don't know if this is going to happen on the Philly end, but I think it'd be a good fit for Ben. At number 4, at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, potential trade pieces, either D'Angelo Russell or Malik Beasley, and they got plenty of picks as well. Now the rumor is at the moment that the Timberwolves are not willing to give up D'Angelo Russell, which I do understand, as D'Lo and Karl-Anthony Towns have a great relationship, and I think D'Lo and Ben Simmons get on very well. I think they went to the same high school, or college. They played together when they were younger anyway, so I think they get along well. I think the chemistry would be great between their 3 stars, because Kat and D'Lo get on great, and then D'Lo and Ben get on great, and then you're adding in Anthony Edwards, the number 1 overall pick in last year's draft. So I think if they could somehow get Ben Simmons in and keep D'Lo, Kat, and Anthony Edwards, the Timberwolves might finally stop becoming irrelevant and might become relevant again. It's been a long time. But Malik Beasley would have to go in any trade if there's any chance of getting a trade, Malik Beasley has to go if D'Lo is not being included. Beasley had a good season last year, averaging 19.6 points per game and 39% shooting from 3. And if Minnesota are not willing to give D'Lo, I don't see this trade happening though, because if I'm a Philly, you can get more from Ben Simmons than Malik Beasley. You'd want D'Lo, even though D'Lo and Seth Curry's defense will be terrible in the backcourt. But just imagine, let's just go into fantasy world here. Timberwolves fans, you've had many years of pain. Imagine you had a team of Ben Simmons, D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards in Minnesota. That'd be unbelievable. I'd actually want to see that happen. And Ben Simmons, I think he'd fit great in there. Players that like him, respect him. I think him and Joel Embiid have never really got along. It's been a weird fit. I think if he went to Minnesota, he'd be surrounded by people that he gets along with. Once again, in a small market, a team that's got plenty of potential, all young players. It's not like Cleveland or Indiana where they're rebuilding. This team would have lots of potential to make some noise in the playoffs. But I just don't see it happening unless D'Lo has been included. On number 3 now, we've got the Sacramento Kings, who've been heavily linked with Ben Simmons in recent days and weeks. Potential trade assets, you got Buddy Hield, you got Marvin Bagley, you got plenty of picks. And, Philly might ask for De'Aaron Fox. Now, would Sacramento be willing to give up De'Aaron Fox? I don't know, because he had a great year last year, averaging 25 points per game and 7.2 assists per game. And I think he is ready for a step up. I'd almost like to see this trade happen so I can see De'Aaron Fox in Philly. I think De'Aaron Fox is ready to play for a contending team. He's a borderline all-star player, and I think they'd accept a deal with De'Aaron Fox in it. But, would the Kings want that? You're swapping out your best player for Ben Simmons, and then you're stuck with Ben Simmons and, a load of other bang average guys, really. But then again, Buddy Hield, a great 3-point shooter. Maybe Philly might want that. It might take Buddy Hield's 3-point shooting. And Marvin Bagley, he's a risk I don't think Philly will take on either. He's only in the league 3 years. He's underwhelmed in those 3 years. He's had injury problems. He hasn't fulfilled his potential as of yet. And I think that's just another Ben Simmons for Philly, A guy with plenty of potential who hasn't fulfilled it. So I just don't think that Philly will accept a deal from the Kings unless they're offering De'Aaron Fox. Buddy Hield is 30 years old, but a great scorer. He can create his own shot. There's plenty of pros of bringing in Buddy Hield. But as for Marvin Bagley, too much a risk for me that Philly would accept anyway. But just imagine if they did. Let's go back into fantasy world here. You've got De'Aaron Fox, Ben Simmons, and Tyrese Halliburton. How would that work? You got 3 ball handlers. I don't know. So is the fit even that good? I don't see this trade happening. At number 2, we got the Toronto Raptors. Now this is one where things get more realistic here. The Raptors could either sign and trade Kyle Lowry for Ben Simmons, or they could trade someone like a Pascal Siakam. Now Philly recently, right before the trade deadline, wanted Kyle Lowry. He's also a Philly guy, so I think they will be very interested in Kyle Lowry, a former All-Star. He's an All-Star caliber player they want. He's experienced. He's, as I said, they're in win now mode, and this bringing in a former champion in Kyle Lowry, I think they'd happily take that deal. And if the Raptors want to keep Kyle Lowry, or Kyle Lowry walks somewhere else, they could offer up Spicy P, Pascal Siakam, a former All-Star, just an All-Star last year, and he proved with the Raptors in their championship run in 2019 that he is capable of being a second or third man on a championship winning team. For Philly, probably I think it's between him and Tobias Harris to be the second man behind Joel Embiid. That'll be a very strong team, and I think Philly could accept that as well. As for Ben, plenty of spotlight will be off him because he's going to a whole new country, in Canada with the Raptors, and he still has plenty of good players around him, and the roster will be pretty good. Let's say they kept Kyle Lowry or Pascal Siakam. One of those two will go in the trades. Let's just say they trade Siakam. Then they got Lowry, Simmons, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet. Plenty of potential there. So I think the Raptors will be a good fit for Ben Simmons. As I said, out of spotlight. You don't get much spotlight at all in Toronto. So I think a great fit for both sides. And I do think that this one could happen if the Raptors want Ben Simmons. If they're willing to give up Kyle Lowry in a sign and trade, or give up Pascal Siakam, I think they're the caliber of players that Philly are looking for in a trade. So maybe this one could work. And then on to the best trade destination I think for Ben Simmons would be the Portland Trail Blazers. CJ McCollum plus maybe a pick or two for Ben Simmons. They both make similar money, so I think that won't be a problem. And this, I think, will work for both sides. Portland need to move on from Dame and CJ to backcourt, and they want to keep Damian Lillard, obviously. So what better move to make to try and keep Dame in? What bigger move could you make to keep Dame happy in Portland than breaking up the Dame and CJ backcourt, which clearly wasn't good enough to win a championship, and add in Ben Simmons, who would play as their power forward. And the Blazers have been strongly linked with Draymond Green, interested in Draymond Green as a power forward. They want his defense, playmaking, all that jazz. Well, Ben Simmons can do that. Then you got Ben Simmons, and then you got Damian Lillard. I think that's a great team. I was saying you surround them with people like Yusuf Nurkic and all that jazz. Norman Powell can play as a shooting guard beside Dame. So I think this would be a great trade for both sides. And then as for Philly, they'll be getting CJ McCollum. That's your borderline all-star you're looking for. Averaged 23 points per game last year on 40% shooting from 3. He's could be their third guy. You got CJ, you got Tobias Harris and Joel Embiid. That team is good in my opinion. Would Portland be willing to offer up CJ? I think they would. I think they're desperate to keep Dame in Portland. So maybe this could happen. I think this is the most likely one of all them to happen. And I'd like to see it happen because I'd be interested to see how Damian Lillard and Ben Simmons would fit together in the same team in Portland. And Portland, once again, not a big market either, so it wants more, not as much pressure. Now overall, if possible, Ben needs to get out of the limelight. It's too much for him, I think, at the moment. His confidence is bad enough as it is. He won't shoot trees, he won't shoot middies, and now he doesn't want to go to the free throw line anymore or hit wide open dunks. So he needs to get out of the spotlight, get out of Philly, get some pressure off him. I think all these teams will give him that, except the Warriors. Once you go to Golden State, plenty of pressure there with Steph and Clay and Draymond. I think Portland and Toronto, as we saw, have by far the best packages to give to Philly. But I can see a team like the Pacers going all in for him. When you're a small market team like Indiana, like Cleveland, you're not going to get a chance to get these superstars in free agency. So why not go all in to trade for him when they become available? There's some other teams that haven't been linked with him, but I think it could happen if things go wrong for either of those teams. It's the Utah Jazz and San Antonio Spurs. The Jazz will want to keep hold of Mike Conley. Let's say Mike Conley says, I want out. They could sign and trade Mike Conley for Ben Simmons. I think that's the all-star level player that Philly want. And then Utah get Ben Simmons, but then Ben Simmons and Rudy Gobert. Will that work? No, in my opinion. So that one's unlikely. The Spurs, another team I thought of. Look at DeRozan. He's going to be leaving. Sign and trade for DeRozan. Then Philly get their second or third star in DeRozan. And then San Antonio get a player like Ben Simmons. Pop can work with him. And there's no... I said Toronto, there's no limelight there. Very little limelight in San Antonio either. So I think maybe one of those could happen. The Jazz or Spurs. But I think those 7 teams in the video are the most likely. But anyway, guys, you tell me, where do you think Ben Simmons will end up? Do you think he'll end up staying in Philly, or do you think he's going elsewhere? I think he's gone. You guys tell me. But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications. Stay notified. With all that said, I'm out of here.